how to effectively use personality intelligence for your day-to-day work. So anyone who's been in selling knows that people buy from those that they trust. Establishing that trust, establishing that connection is critically important. It doesn't matter whether you are a BDR outbounding, so you're still trying to establish that level of trust that allows the prospect to say, okay, I'll pause everything that I'm doing for a moment to speak to you. And of course, as you move along through the sales process, it keeps on becoming more and more important. It is just natural for all of us as salespeople to start thinking and looking at our buyers in terms of personas. We end up taking a very narrow view of who's on the other side of the table, who these people are, what makes these people unique, what makes these people different from each other. And accordingly, we try to establish the relationship. All of us have a certain kind of personality. So the DISC framework is a personality assessment framework. DISC stands for dominance, influence, steadiness, and calculativeness. People who are high on D, the dominance attribute, they typically tend to be very direct. They tend to be very goal-oriented. These are the people always in a hurry. The I types, the influences, as it is said. So these are the people who are very sociable. The S stands for steadiness. These are the calm, thoughtful, composed people. And C, calculativeness is what we call it. It's also called conscientiousness sometimes. So these are typically very analytical kind of people. Now, no one is necessarily purely a D or an I or an S or a C. Scores to a certain level on each of these four attributes. But for a majority of people, one or two attributes tend to be either major or major enough. Imagine for a minute that you're someone who's a type DC. Now, what happens is usually we tend to work effectively with other people who have the same personality type. Think of that as your kind of sphere of compatibility. But that does also mean that there is an even larger sphere of incompatibility. So these are people that are different than you. These are people who think differently, who behave differently. And that becomes the basis of conflict often enough. Think about your last 3 or 5 conversations. You'll realize that there have been conversations that have gone beautifully. And there would be conversations where you'll come out and say, it didn't really work. You'll notice that you were essentially different kind of people. You never really hit off exactly for this reason, because this is valuable. We've recently introduced a feature called compatibility with you, what that person is like, what exactly, how compatible, they are with you. So, and accordingly, what kind of action you need to take. Humantic is a tool that you can use across sales stages. Let's start with learning. What do I mean by learning? By learning, I mean that using Humantic AI to learn more about what makes you effective, where you are effective, and how can you be better. This is an analysis of our users. So now we see that the DS type is actually the personality type that most often converts for us. Going to buy a product more often, we can focus on them, we can allocate more resources to pursuing these leads, these opportunities, because we know that they tend to buy our product more often. But very interestingly, when I sat down to think about that, because we were trying to build a persona in terms of who likely buys from us. And one thing I couldn't help but notice was the personality type buying most often from us was the same type that I have. Till around 3-4 months ago, it was essentially me leading sales for Humantic AI. So now at least some part of our success with that DS type was probably because that is the type of personality that I, as a salesperson, inherently connect with. Beyond that, I start becoming a little less effective. Using Humantic AI to learn more about yourself, who you are impactful with, and why it might just be actually a natural thing that's happening. And if you are aware of that, then it becomes easy enough for you now to be more cognizant. So we started by learning more about ourselves, where we are successful, where we are less successful, where we need to put in less effort because it's natural, where we need to put in more effort. So next we move to selecting. That's a corollary of, what we've been discussing so far. Just go to, LinkedIn for a second. You'll see this personality type of the individual. So this should very easily help you pick and choose if you have that luxury. And when I speak about selecting, what you can do here is you can see what are the types that are you likely to be compatible with and therefore have a higher chance of succeeding with. So, and accordingly, you can pick those types that you're likely to be more effective with. So let's move to prospecting. Let's look at Amit. Amit is the founder of Gong. If you see here now, Amit is DI. When you are working based on the personality of the person that you're seeing here. So now, if you're talking about someone who's high on I, they will strongly support what you have to say. Essentially, these are the glass half full kind of people. So now, as a salesperson, what I can use Humantic here for is to set my expectations a little bit realistically. And that's their intention is not to mislead you, but that is just how they are naturally as people. So following up, I think, we'll not spend a lot of time on this one. What is too much and what is too less? Where do you pick up the phone and where do you send an email and where do you drop a LinkedIn message? If you just stay here with Amit, for a minute. So he's a type DI, and informal approach to following up could be very effective. So that could be a text message. Instead, if you were, let us say, talking to, let's take Aaron here with a type D or a type, especially if it was a type, let us say, C, you might want to stick to more formal kind of follow-ups. Typically, these are the people who expect that level of formality. They expect that level of, you could say, propriety in the interactions. They normally don't connect and form relationships that quickly. So, closing is obviously the most important. For someone like Aaron, the most important point when it comes to closing might be around proof of impact compared to a type I, where the most important factor for them might be other examples. The type Ds might actually be put off by other examples because they have so much belief in themselves. So that becomes very, very important for them to make that decision. Now, as part of course, the Humantics, you will be able to get most of these insights in plain English, but knowing what each personality type implies to a degree, that'll help you across every stage of selling, right from deciding who are the customers, prospects that you want to be focusing on, down to how you follow up with them and how do you eventually close business with them. So